Hey everybody, Steve from Sphinx Moth Travels here. Today with the question, is international travel more difficult than domestic travel? Now, I know even the phrase international travel can sound intimidating. You're worrying about, oh gee, am I going to have to get a visa to travel to that particular country? Do I need certain vaccinations or inoculations before I can travel there? Or other requirements? It just sounds a lot more difficult. But the fact of the matter is, often international travel is not only just as easy as domestic travel, at least within the US, but it can also be more comfortable. And now I'm not talking necessarily about travel within your particular destination, but let's say if you're taking a transatlantic flight, trans-Pacific, to a transcontinental flight, and you book all of your flights within the same airline. If you're going to Korea and all of your flights are with Korean Air, and one of them is a good 9 or 10, 11 hours long, maybe a little more. Yes, that sounds like a lot, but it also means you don't have to worry about connections as much. If you've ever tried traveling from one side of the U.S. to the other by plane, okay, sure, there's direct flights and whatnot, but sometimes you need connections to get to a certain town. Sometimes that's just not easy. Sometimes, or even halfway up a certain coast. Let's say from San Diego to Seattle, or even from where we are, from Tampa to the middle of the Atlantic, the Mid-Atlantic, DC, something like that. Sometimes it's just easier. And international. All you need is an up-to-date passport with 6 months of validity or more, and then make sure that 6-month date of validity isn't going to expire while you're overseas, while you're traveling internationally. That's a key point, and as long as you've got money to pay for what you need when you get there, a credit card, what have you, that's pretty much all you need. If you're thinking about how to pack, well, we can talk about that later in other topics, other points, other content that we have. But in international, okay, here in North America, we have very large countries compared to a lot of the rest of the world. The US, Canada, Mexico, it might seem very far away. Of course, if you live in Detroit, you can just cross the river right to Windsor, Ontario. I mean, that's international travel right there. Just driving right across the border. Of course, not all international travel is so easy. Or if you live in Europe, just taking the train between countries. If you have a Schengen visa, that's also international. But for those of us here in North America, if you're thinking of traveling either international or to somewhere just very far away, just know that it's often the same, and not as difficult as it sounds. Cruises. Let's say if you're taking a cruise where you're visiting another country, or several other countries. We were just on a cruise, which is why I'm posting this particular video a bit later, after a few weeks. Didn't have to get visas for the stops we made in Mexico and Belize and, my goodness, it wasn't that long ago, Honduras. We did have to provide our passport information, but the particular destinations where we were, they took U.S. currency. Of course, that's typical of port areas and on cruise excursions. Everybody's will gladly take U.S. dollars now. Some people have opinions, oh gee, is that real travel or not? Well, unless you're dreaming about a cruise ship, it's definitely real travel. But that's one example of how it could be somewhat easier, just staying on the boat the whole time, sleeping on the boat, not necessarily staying on it during the day. I have to tell you, as somebody who's taken a number of different flights lasting 10 hours or more, sometimes a bit longer, back and forth between Korea and mainland China, the airlines there, and even when I was living in Korea, to Southeast Asia, the airlines out that way, they take care of you. Not to knock the U.S.-based airlines, but you know, generally more comfortable seats, definitely better food service than a lot of American airlines. Not the necessarily the brand name American, but you know, the U.S. based airlines. Even though it's a long flight and you have to get up and walk around and take care of yourself, try to recover from jet lag once you land and all of that stuff, it's definitely a pleasure once you get there. And even during the flight, you have your little movie screen with included movies. You don't have to usually download an app or to watch movies or TV or play games. Depending on the airline, they might not even charge for headphones. Everything's extra on a lot of flights these days, including the food. And if you plan it the right way, international travel is not that difficult. And I'm not talking necessarily about saving the money. I'm just talking about the logistics of it. Sure, if you're going to a particular country that requires certain vaccinations, inoculations, certain health requirements, you do have to prepare for it. You have to think critically before you buy a ticket, before you, especially in this age, definitely traveling during COVID or just after COVID, when there are different vaccination requirements in different areas. You had to think about that. The requirements for when you land. Will you be able to exit the airport? That's something you want to give consideration to. But if that's all under control, and right about now, I mean, if you look at news site statistics about travel opening up and people traveling more than ever before, different airports. The last few times I've flown domestically, and we fly a lot to visit family in different parts of the country, close family and friends. There's always a snag. Doesn't matter the season, doesn't matter the destination. It could seem like it's a logical, very easy 2.5 hour flight. Oh sure, that's domestic travel. That's really easy. Just get on a plane and go. It's never quite that simple. Most of the time, flying internationally, for me, it has been simpler. It has been easier. A lot fewer missed connections, a lot fewer rebookings. A lot of U.S.-based airlines, they have crew trouble or mechanical trouble. They switch itineraries. It's not your 2.5 hour direct flight all of a sudden has a connection somewhere and a 4-hour stopover, which is announced either 2 days before you leave or even during your flight, or the planned connection just doesn't make it because it's late. International airlines understand that, and that when you leave, like you can't make those kinds of errors with flights lasting 9, 10, 11 hours. It's just not possible. Well, the planes are bigger, and possibly because of that, they have to take care of them a little better. They have to maintain them. If it's a double-decker plane, honestly, I think it's only one time I've been on the upper deck of a double-decker plane, but there are just certain standards in place, or at least there seem to be. I'm not an expert on FAA regulations or aircraft maintenance. It's fascinating a topic as it is. All right, so I've got more to say on that, but we will have other content, we will have other posts, other talks where we cover this about domestic travel, international travel, and I'll try not to just keep it focused on the U.S. or domestic travel within the U.S., although that's our closest area of expertise. Of course, you can travel domestically within your own country. I want to try to make this for everybody that wants to hear it. So do yourself a favor, go to sphinxmothtravels.com, download the completely free Top 11 Travel, Health, and Safety Myths today. It's completely free. You just sign up, you can download it. There's a lot in the works right now. I could keep saying that, but there's more to come from us at Sphinx Moth Travels. Go and download the myths right now. Shameless plug. All right? Take care. We'll see you next time.